I think in general, the one thing I've learned about our team throughout the season is that we've got a great deal of resiliency, and we respond to adversity when it presents itself. And naturally, coming off of last week's game was a tough loss. But like these guys have done and have continued to show me that they do, they bounce back and they have a great week of work. They're very intentional in their approach day in and day out. This week has been no different. Now ultimately is putting it all together on Saturday, but I can't commend them enough for the job they've done this week and coming back to work and understanding a new game plan and the intent and kind of what's at stake, big picture, but yet honing all the way in on what was at stake each and every day at practice, and then getting ourselves prepared to play Kansas on Saturday.
Yeah, Steve, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Gotcha.
Okay. I was curious, besides your usual leaders, if any other players have kind of really stepped up their preparation, their leadership skills, and done so in a big manner this week.
Yeah. I mean, I think throughout this process, right, of growth over the last 2 years, and then even into this season, a guy who to me has really stepped up as a leader has been JT Sanders. He's a true sophomore. You really see his development from a leadership perspective starting to come out. I thought that's been really impressive. I think Keelan Robinson has been another guy, was new to the program a year ago. Has in it. Obviously it's a great room with Bijan and Roshan. I think his leadership has definitely kind of stepped up in a different manner. Which has been positive and I think great for all parties involved. And then the third one, I would say Ryan Watts, again, transfer, he's kind of now getting through his first season. I think his leadership is starting to show. So yeah, I know that the usual guys, which we talk about a lot, but those three kind of stand out just off the top of my head of guys that are really starting to step up and finding their niche in the program.
Mike, go ahead.
Hey, Coach, I wanted to ask you about the 3-3-5 defense.
Sure.
Obviously, it's given a lot of people difficulties, not just your offense, but across the nation. What makes that defense so difficult to crack the code with?
Yeah. I would like to say it's unique, but I don't know if it's unique anymore. I mean, a lot of people do it. We've seen it multiple times this season. Off the top of my head, Iowa State, Kansas State, and obviously last week with TCU. I think one of the challenges is that the way they deploy the three safeties, it can be discouraging in the pass game. They're dropping 8 people in coverage a fair amount of time. It's hard to find throwing lanes and get on top. So you have to try to run them out of it in essence. But then they have multiple hats coming at you from different angles to, you can get yards, but it's hard to get those explosive runs. But I think you have to have a commitment to running the football, and you have to have real designed runs to attack it, to hopefully get them out of that 3 safety shell and force them into playing some other coverages that maybe they're not as comfortable playing. I think the other thing that is unique about it is that because of the structure with the 3 down linemen, kind of the 3 backers, and then the 3 safeties, there's a multitude of pressures that they can bring out of it. So when you're committed to those pressures, you got to make sure that you're sound protection wise and that you're sound in the run game to pick all the different hats up and the different looks they can present.
Cedric, go ahead.
Hey, Steve. Kirk and I spoke with Coach Leipold yesterday, and he was really coy about whether he's going to start Jalen Daniels or Jason Bean. How difficult is it to prepare for 2 different quarterbacks, and how do those 2 styles differ?
Yeah, first of all, I think on both sides have been involved in the quarterback situations on our end and opponents. So I guess we're getting used to it. The system isn't going to change, and they've got a very good system offensively. They utilize the option game and they tax you that way in the run game to where you have to be very disciplined in defending, all 3 phases of the option game, the give, the quarterback, and the pitch. And then they do a nice job with their play action game off of that. If you're not disciplined there's kind of that fourth layer to it, which is the play action pass game where they get their chunk plays in the passing game down the field. I think both quarterbacks are very equipped at running it. I would probably say Bean may be faster than Daniels. When he gets in the open field, he's got really, straight line speed. I think one thing Daniels has, he's got a really good feel for the game of football. We felt that last year in our game when they kind of started him and we didn't know it. And, he's got a really knack for, layering throws down the field. He's very elusive and can, slip out of tackles to extend plays with his legs or his arm. So you have to prepare for the system. But I do think it is important to know in game which quarterback is in there and then kind of how we need to defend him as the game goes on.
Perry, you're up.
Coach Sarkisian, you talked about talking with the players and the team about what's at stake for the big picture and also focused on what's coming up on Saturday. Can you share with us what exactly is that stake, big picture that you talked to them about?
Well, I don't know if it's sometimes what we say in our team meeting is for us, but the reality of it is this: we have an opportunity. If we can win our final two games, there's an opportunity there that presents where we could be in the Big 12 championship game. So I like to do that with the guys because I don't like them to act like I'm not aware of what's happening. We're aware and I'm transparent with them, but then I turn right around and I drill right down to what's the most important thing. And that's this week's game. And then what's the most important thing to this week's game? And that's today. In our world, we say it all the time. Today is the most important day. And making sure that we have the focus, the mental intensity on today of what we're doing, what we're trying to accomplish, why it's important to accomplish these things and what it can mean for Saturday. And so that's kind of how we layered it with them, without getting into all the particulars that we touched on.
Joe, go ahead.
I think you touched on them on Monday, but Barron Sorrell is staying on the field a lot more than he did last year. What did his improvement allow for y'all to do defensively that maybe wasn't available last year?
Well, I think one, he's earned the right. That's why he's on the field more. I think there's a real comfort level for him of defending the run, defending the pass, understanding the scheme, being disciplined in the scheme. And what Barron's done is I think he's playing a lot faster. I think he's playing more physical. When you walk up on Barron, he looks the part, man. You're like, wow, look at this guy. He's long, he's physical, he's smart. Now he's really cutting it loose. He's playing that way, and I thought last week was as evident as of any of them where the speed in which he played, the physicality in which he played, and then the relentless effort in which he played. And so you don't feel deficient on either aspect of it when he's on the field. You can play the run when he's out there. You can rush the passer when he's out there. And now that gives us a lot of versatility with he and Ovi out there together. Both those guys are well equipped to do multiple things. Couple that with what's going on the interior, and then the versatility of the two linebackers with Demo and Jalen. That front has performed at a high level, and a lot of credit to Barron because he's allowing us to do that. We don't have to sub him out.
Ryan, go ahead.
Hey, Coach, on Monday, you said against TCU, you guys showed a little bit of your immaturity and youth. Is that something you can change before Kansas? Or if so, how do you go about that?
Well, I think so. I think one is you lean into the veterans, you lean into the experienced guys, you lean into the players that, have that maturity. And then you try to use them as an example of what it looks like for the other guys on the team. I think the other side of it is from a coach's perspective is you try to recognize things like that maybe potentially happening sooner, and making sure that we're doing things for them that gets their confidence right back, to having belief in their own abilities, never mind what we're doing. And hey, we've all seen it since football started. Sometimes you have games like that. Things don't go the way you plan them to go, and execution doesn't go the way you plan it to go. And sometimes the ball just doesn't go the way you want it to go, and you can't dwell on that. You've got to move forward. And I think that we've done a good job of that this week. We've been saying all week, eyes forward. Let's focus on the task at hand. Let's fix some of the issues we had, but let's focus on the task at hand and get back to playing a style and brand of football that we know we're capable of.
Danny, you're up.
Steve, what do you like about Devin Neal's game and what he does for this Kansas offense?
One, very good player, very good runner. I think what he does, what concerns you is he's a home run hitter. It feels like once a week he gets a big run, whether it's 50, 55, 70. And so we've got to make sure that we pride ourselves on minimizing the explosive plays. We've done a really good job of that this year. It's unfortunate, we gave up the long run last week when, quite frankly, we shouldn't have. It was a bust on our part. We had an unblocked defender. We don't make the play. So this week is going to be the same way because Devin Neal is a guy that can hurt you and he can hit you. He can hit a big one on you if you aren't, assignment sound and gap sound in the run game because he will create explosive plays on you.
Anwar, you're up.
Excuse me. I can't hear you. I'm sorry.
You there, Anwar?
Hey, is this better?
Gotcha.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, I apologize.
You're good.
I guess you got to turn it on. Question about Xavier, Coach. Last year, 1,000-yard receiver. This year, unless you go bombs away, you may fall short of that. I want to kind of get your thoughts on the effort that you're seeing from him on film. Are you seeing the same kind of effort fighting for the ball, body language? I just kind of give your evaluation of his performance this season.
Yeah, I think Xavier's a great player. Extremely hard worker. I know you guys can't come to practice, but he's the first guy at practice every day working on his craft. One of the last guys to leave every day. Very detail oriented. We ask a lot of him. And he competes at a really high level. The guy's scored 21 touchdowns in 22 career games. He's got 9 touchdown catches on the year. I think, he set the standard and the bar really high for himself and for all of us. And that's something that, we all should strive to do. We all want to create as high of a bar for ourselves. That means you're performing at a high level. And then now you try to meet that standard and exceed it. And he goes about his business that way every single day. And so really proud of him. I'm well aware of, the better we go offensively, that means the better he's going, and we're finding ways to get him the ball and space to create explosive plays. And we'll continue to do that. But I couldn't be more impressed with what he brings on a daily basis.
Got one last one. Nick, you're up.
Yes, you just wanted to ask about Quinn. How do you think that he's handled, blitzes and extra pass rushers coming at him this season? And maybe what are some areas he can do to maybe improve in those situations?
Yeah, I think he's done well. I'm sure there's always going to be plays where he's and we want it to go better. I think it's twofold. One, we have to make sure we're protecting at a high level. That's the first part. And then two, I think there's an awareness level for him there's an awareness level for him on where are those throws based on the concept that we have that are those blitz beater throws. And sometimes they aren't always down the field. Sometimes they're the short intermediate throws where there's catch and run opportunities. And that's all part of the growth and maturation process that I think he's evolving into. You see him take advantage of it at a high level at times, and you see other times when we don't. But I think it's not all, on him that way. I think everybody's awareness has to be heightened when blitzes occur, whether it's protection, route running, and him throwing the ball on time and accurately so that we can take advantage of it.